Good evening. I give honor to God, to Bishop Anderson, Lady Anderson, to my own spouse, Ella Gray, and to each of you. This morning, I reviewed the Sunday school lesson. It was my first time. And I got the idea last week when we were traveling, and I said to Ella Gray, you know what? I want to review the lesson Sunday. And he said, yes, that'll be fine. So we had a wonderful Sunday school lesson. It was on attitudes. What is an attitude? Well, I had the opportunity this morning to sit in on a class for a few minutes, and it was 9 through 11, and so I talked to the kids for a few minutes, and I said, well, can you define attitude? And one of the students said, well, it's the way we act or behave toward a person or thing. Amen. You have to have it's always good to have a good attitude, but all attitudes are not good. We all know that. But in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus described people who were blessed or happy and how they were to live. The first 7 statements Jesus made focus on the development of human character. And I have a plaque in my office as you enter it, and the plaque says, character is doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. And I say to my students day in and day out, you know what? That's part of who you are. You may not be around your mom, you may not be around your dad, but doing the right thing when no one is looking. Because guess what? Someone knows. God knows everything. Jesus offered the disciples instructions for a different way of living, which is more fulfilling than the way of the world. He simply said that we were to be the salt of the earth, which means that we're to impact the world. Not the other way around. The world shouldn't impact us. We should impact the world. A Christian is a person that is Christ-like. Therefore, he or she must have an attitude that reflects Christ at all times. It can be easy to have a Christ-like attitude when you're around people who also have a Christ-like attitude. And that's one of the things I said in new members to Ella, Jeff Anderson. I said, you know, it's so easy to live right when you're in church around fellow believers. But the real test is when you are out in the world, you're on your job, someone is saying things to you that they shouldn't say, sometimes words, there's little curse words or whatever. But so that's so important because God will always help us, and to help us keep the right attitude, and so people can see Jesus through us. Many times, it may be a co-worker who maybe they're having a bad day, and you speak to them, they may not even speak to you, even when you speak to them. It may be a person who cut you off in traffic and look at you like you did something wrong. Or they may even give you the finger, and I'm not talking about the baby finger either. But the list goes on and on. The secret to having an attitude like Christ is having a mind like Christ. And the secret to having a mind like Christ is to study God's word daily and learn how he thinks. That's right. What does the Bible say about attitude? Let's call on the Apostle Paul. Writing from a prison cell in Rome, the Apostle Paul wrote about the attitude a Christian should have. Whatever happens, conduct yourself in a manner of the gospel of Christ. Philippians 1:27. No matter what happens in our lives, we should respond with a Christ-like attitude. No matter how we're treated, we are supposed to respond with a Christ-like attitude. Because we're not only representing ourselves, we're representing God, our church, our family, our community. The Beatitudes are an open window and a clear lesson of the type of attitude Christ wants us to have. We are to always be about our Father's business. We are to give mercy. We are to be about peace. We are to have a pure heart. We should be meek. We are to help others. It's not just about us. And we should be hungry and thirsty for righteousness. We should be a walking, living, and upright example of the bracelet that people used to wear. You guys remember that? WWJD? Yes. What would Jesus do? Jesus maintained a perfect attitude in every situation. He prayed about everything and worried about nothing. We too should seek God's guidance about every aspect of our lives and allow Him to work out His perfect will. In the midst of earthly trials and tribulations, He was patient. In the midst of blessings, He was humble. In the midst of distress, He made no threats and did not retaliate. In short, Jesus always had the right attitude in life and even in death. Thank you.